Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the Stuff I Heard podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Peak, and I happen to be here with Dolores. Hey, baby.
Hello.
So we just made it through a hurricane.
We did.
Yeah, Hurricane Helene. I guess that's how you're supposed to pronounce it because it's got that E at the end.
I'm not sure.
And it's not one of those silent E's, not like Helene. You know, you didn't hear anybody do with the Snape accent whenever they pronounced it. Hello, Helene. No, it's Helene.
Okay.
Hurricane Helene. So Helene, all of a sudden came out of nowhere. Just I don't know. I was kind of watching this stuff in the Gulf, looking at it, just seeing what's going on, and it was like, hey, there's a 20% chance this little yellow blob down here might be something. And I was like, okay. And then it's like, hey, this little blob might actually be something because it's orange. And I go to this website. It's Mike Spaghetti Models. I'm sure everybody's looked at it at one time or another here lately, because there's all kind of little sites that are linked to it, and you can see what's going on with where the storms are, where they're going, what people are predicting. And some of them have like sites like windy.com that let you buy in and see more information. And so I'm constantly looking at it because it pertains to my job. And this thing all week long was just kind of there. And then suddenly it was a storm. And then suddenly it was heading up towards
It
the
moved
Gulf.
extremely fast. I mean, it
Yeah.
it picked up speed extremely fast. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
even know that I heard anything at all about it until
Like Wednesday.
yeah,
Yeah.
midweek.
Yeah. Like all of a sudden, that's not our normal hurricane. Our normal hurricane's like, hey, I got this thing over here
Yeah.
coming off the coast of Africa, and I'll be there in like a week and a half, maybe. you know, those are the things we're used to. But these ones from the Gulf here seem to be just like all of a sudden it's like there might be a storm too. Suddenly there's a major hurricane. You're like, well, what do you mean major? I mean, they stopped just classifying it as hurricane. They just go major. And I'm going, okay, what does that mean?
Yeah, I want to say that it
Does
went
major
from a
mean
category 3 to a 4 in less than
yeah,
12 hours.
yeah? Like all of a sudden, just boom. And then it hit the coast right at the bend, right at the little bendy part in
And they
Florida.
call that something. What do they call that?
They call it the bend. I
Yeah,
thought
okay. That may be what
the
it is.
and I mean, it's because it's not the panhandle, which is that long piece, and it's
Yeah, I
not
mean, it
the dippy down part.
we're not a stranger to hurricanes. We all, anywhere in this area, we know pretty much when hurricane season is. And, there for the longest, thankfully, we've not had anything like major. I remember Matthew.
Yeah, I
We
remember
look,
Michael too.
yeah, I mean, we've been fortunate where we live that the longest we've been without power is what, about 24, 30 hours, something like that.
About 30 hours.
Um,
Well, if you're not counting Hugo.
Yeah, I mean, but I didn't live here then, so I'm
Oh,
not
I
I'm not
didn't.
counting that. But it has been a while since. I mean, you have to really live like in the outer line areas with a lot of trees and not in neighborhoods, it seems like.
Yeah.
I know there's some people that I think during Matthew went about a week with no power around here. But anyway,
Oh yeah,
I
like
mean,
the Nichols area. I
yes.
mean,
Yes. But it seems like to me, and this is just my opinion, the last couple of years, maybe 2 years or so now of hurricane season, we have not had as big a threat on the East Coast as what the Gulf is seeing. And there for the longest, it seemed like the East Coast was just all up and down the East Coast was getting slammed. Remember all those years that the Outer Banks just got wiped out year
yeah.
after year. And now, thankfully,
Thankfully for us.
yes, our coastline, the East Coast, which is where we live the closest, has been a little bit quieter. In the Gulf area, Texas got hit. What not? They got hit by the one just a couple of months ago,
Yeah.
I want to say, and then prior to that, they had one maybe last year that did some major damage
Yeah.
in the Texas area. So it seems like it's just amazing the way things have changed up a little bit. I mean, we've
Well,
got a friend that lives in Mexico, and they've already had
yeah.
multiple issues with hurricanes in the last
On the
two
Gulf side,
summers.
which is again very unusual for us, but it's always amazed me that more hurricanes didn't start up from the Gulf because I'd always heard that the currents of the water kind of swirl in there. Like it comes in from the East Coast and it just kind of, does this little swirly pattern right there in the Gulf. And I was like, well, you would think that wind would cause some kind of storm from that, or then Katrina happened. You're like, whoa, holy cow. Okay, well, that's one of the things. But again, Katrina kind of came from the east and then went up. And this one just sort of started right in the Gulf. So there's another one following it next week that we got to keep an eye on because we could be doing all this again next week. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, which is this is the first time in a while. I mean, I remember Hugo, of course, and Hugo did a lot of damage even after it come on land because most of the time whenever they make landfall, they seem to dissipate, break up pretty quickly.
yeah.
This Hugo did
Well,
not. Remember, Hugo went up way inland and did a lot of damage up toward the Charlotte area. And I mean, people were talking about that one for years. To me, this one seems like it has affected more areas
yeah,
than any than we've had in the past. This one just went. I mean, my sister lives in Augusta, Georgia, and they rarely have any issues with any hurricanes at all. And this one, they are still without power. I think they lost power
yeah.
sometime early Friday morning before daylight, and they've not had power since where she lives.
Well, and right now Asheville's sort of blockaded off from anything because they've lost bridges on both sides of the town and they're sort of stuck.
But now,
Um,
didn't that have to do with?
Rain.
But they had a lot of rain prior to this
They
happening.
did.
Was it like a combination of a couple things
It
that
was a
just happened to?
combination. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a perfect storm event. I mean, you had a front that was pushing down. They had already had a lot of rain, and then this other storm had come down. And I'd heard people talk about it right about the time this hurricane was supposed to hit that bend in Florida. There was another system that was pushing down, and the two systems were supposed to swirl, and then it was going to pick up a lot of speed and dump a ton of rain. I mean, and it did. It People have seen the news. I mean, there's still, I think, over 2 million people without power, and um,
Oh,
who
I
knows
was
how
just
many people
it
are
was
have lost
very.
their life now due to the
Yeah, I
rain
want to
and
say that I
trees down.
looked at when I looked yesterday. I think they said that the death toll was at 33.
I saw last night before I went to bed it was 63.
Okay, so it's gone up,
But I mean, that's just as we know it for right now.
and
So
that's a lot.
it is.
I mean, and I think it's a lot in different areas.
Yeah.
It just covered a lot bigger amount of land this time than it has in the past.
Well, I mean, and it hit, Thursday night, Friday morning here for us. It kind of went through here. And today's Sunday, and it's still like over Arkansas and stuff because it kind of made
Mm,
this little turn. It's just dumping water now, but it's still kind of there. I
yeah,
mean, I don't know that it's still calling it a storm, but it's still storming.
yeah. I mean, it's all sad to see. Especially, like I say, I've got my family down in Georgia experienced a lot of a lot of damage as far as debris. I don't think anybody's thankfully nobody's house was damaged.
Yeah.
No leaks or anything like that. They had a lot of just different type
Well,
debris type stuff, and everybody's power is back on there.
and because it increased to a 4 is why I think it pushed so far. I mean, imagine living in Tennessee and hearing about a hurricane and going, that'll never get here.
Well, I'm
You
sure
know what I
even the
mean?
people in Augusta probably thought the same thing. Because, like I said,
Sure.
I don't think that. I mean, Cindy and Charles, my sister and brother-in-law, have lived in Augusta for a really long time, and I don't know that they've had any major effects from a hurricane other than just some, a little bit more rain than normal. They've never. I mean, we over here are constantly preparing for hurricanes,
That's right.
and
You can't go to a neighbor and be like, hey, man, be sure you got your generator. I already got it ready.
yeah,
I mean, but yeah, you live a few hundred miles away from the coast and you're like, why would I need a generator? That stuff never gets here.
yeah.
And now they're finding out. But yeah,
It was. It's all sad. I mean, I hate anybody dealing with power outages and lost property and things like that. It was heartbreaking to see the video of the area in is was that
Chimney Rock.
Chimney Rock, right?
Yeah.
I think that was the road that went to the Bat Cave
Yep.
area that you and I rode on so many times over different vacations on the motorcycle just to watch that whole street of buildings because some of those buildings were wooden buildings or older brick buildings that had been there for a really long time and just to see every last single bit of that stuff just float away, that was unreal. I can't even imagine what those people are dealing with right now.
Yeah. I don't know. I know my brother lives up in the Taylor's Greer area. they went to Atlanta because there's power there and family there. So, you know, there's still a lot of people dealing with missing family members and trying to get people to answer the phone and that sort of thing. And towers are overloaded. And hopefully they can get all that straightened out and people can be accounted for. And, you know, but yeah, it's going to be a while before areas are cleaned up in Tennessee and North Carolina and even along the coast of Florida. I mean, obviously you'd expect Florida to be hit because the eye hit there. But like, I don't know.
I
Being here
know.
and going through Hugo, I used to tell the kids, I said, I'm not worried about a three. I'm not worried about a two. I'm not worried about a one. We're an hour away from the coast. I am worried about a four and a five. A four, I'm getting nervous. Five, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah, I mean, prior to this one and Hugo, I mean, let's face it, Hugo, a lot of us still really remember Hugo because that was September of 89. I did not live here then, but I had some family that was here. So I remember that one all too well. This one has been the first one in a really long time that it took, like I say, it came inland. It did so much damage further in than any that we've had in a long time. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I would think from here on out, I'm going to pay a little bit more attention. Like I said, we don't usually bat an eye at a three, but who's to say that a three can't stay stronger inland like this one did and do a lot of damage? So, yeah, I wouldn't say I just laugh them off, but I'm
No.
definitely going to pay closer attention to them.
Well, and if, I mean, we still at a three are going to make sure we got gasoline and the generators ready and
Sure.
kind of prep some food and that sort of thing. And, but yeah, I mean, I can't imagine what it would be like to live in, say, Asheville, North Carolina before the internet. And you're just there. And all of a sudden you go, hey, there's a storm coming. You're like, what? Like, no, no, it's really bad. You probably need to leave. Like, it's a hurricane. It doesn't come. We're in North Carolina. Why would it come here? We live in Asheville. There's no way. We're in the mountains, right? Appalachia. Yeah,
Well, I mean, do you think a lot of did the people in Asheville and Boone did they get a warning that this was going to happen?
probably not. I mean, you could see the angle of it, but you're still thinking, I am hundreds of miles from where this thing's starting. There's no way it's going to affect me. I mean, I'm sure. I'm sure that everybody was overconfident. I mean, I was overconfident. I remember last week talking about it and being like, yeah, it's coming. It's not a big deal. Whatever. I mean, even the night before when it was like, oh, it's turning more towards, straight up. And I'm like, cool. We're no problem. And then overnight, it kind of adjusted straight towards us. And I was like, ooh, that's not good.
Now, see, my parents and I have brothers and that live in South Georgia that are closer to the coast than we are here.
Yeah, they're only like half an hour, right?
Yeah, I mean they're probably less than 30 miles as the crow flies from the coast, where we're more like what 70.
Yeah, 75.
You know, as the crow would, as the wind blows, as the crow flies, and I don't know that my family down there has ever really. I mean, they don't get that much damage for some reason. So they tend to have the, oh, okay, so it's coming this way attitude. And I think this time they've been without power a little bit longer. Now their power was restored yesterday, but yeah, there was a couple of them that didn't own generators, and I was really kind of surprised because
Yeah.
we are further inland than they are, and we own a generator. Now, thankfully, we've only had to use the generator once since we've bought it.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it is $1,000 investment that does make me feel a little bit more confident. Not necessarily confident, but it I don't have that much. I don't have to worry about losing everything in my freezers and
Yeah.
refrigerator, things like that. I mean, you can't. We don't have an in-home generator system. I don't know that we would spend that kind of money at this point, but I can tell you if we ever build again or if I was building right now, I would most definitely have that go ahead and put that expense in while you're building.
My mom says she's going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, now they also live in an area that has a way more trees than
a
we
lot
do.
of trees.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing about Augusta. I mean, Augusta is known as being this beautiful place with lots of trees. We see the Nationals, no, the Masters
Well,
every
I mean,
year,
they hadn't
and
been
it's
hit with
just
a hurricane
yeah.
in many, many years.
I mean, why would you trim back your trees? Why would you worry about them near power lines?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you go, oh, that's why.
Yes.
Oh. So I mean, they
Maybe
could
that's
very
what it
well,
is. Maybe over the years, hurricanes have thinned out some of our trees and we've gotten
maybe,
wiser to branches.
maybe,
I mean, and it that comes from experience. That comes
yeah,
from having to deal with it. And whenever you're in Augusta, I'm sure you haven't had to deal with that kind of stuff as often.
yeah.
But yeah, it's I hate the fact that they're still sitting there with no power. They, we've all begged them to come stay with us. Now, thankfully, when our my dad, he lived in Rondo, South Carolina, he had a generator. He had purchased one. I want to say because where he lived, he went several days. Maybe it was Matthew. He went like a week without power,
Yeah.
lost everything in his freezers, and I think that's when he went and bought the generator. And so whenever we were cleaning out daddy's stuff when he passed, Cindy and Charles didn't have a generator, and the rest of us was like, take it, we don't need it. And I'm so glad they have it because that's
Mm-hmm.
what they're keeping their freezer items. They're running it some during the day enough to keep their everything frozen, and so far they're okay.
Yep. And phones charged. That way they can keep up
Yeah,
with everybody and make sure they are aware of what's going on and letting everybody know what's going on and that
yeah.
sort of
I'm
thing.
hoping they get some power soon up there.
Yeah, but with that many trees, they're gonna have to clear the trees before they can turn the power on.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of line to go through. Um, yeah. So if you see the linemen out there, tell them thank you. They're working hard. And yeah, pray for everybody in all these horrible situations.
Yes, I
There's
hope
going to
these
be a
next
lot
few
of recovery
storms just,
needed.
what is the word? Um, Whenever they break up and disappear, what's it called? Dissipate.
Go away.
Go away.
I don't know.
Okay, go away.
My word
I hope they just
thing
go
isn't
away
very big right now.
because I'm sure I know after all of this, these guys that work on these power lines, they're going to need a little bit of a break.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a good time for them to make money too. That's the bad part about a tragedy like this is it's an opportunity to reap the benefits if you're in that kind of business. Um, but yeah, it's tragic for a lot of people. So
Yes, but our poor homeowners insurance, we keep, this the United States keeps getting hit so often
yeah,
anymore. It's like goodness, we're not going to be able to afford homeowners insurance after a while.
where is safe from weather? We're in the
Oh, I have
United
no idea
States.
because like if you live out in the middle, which is what the
You get
Kansas,
tornadoes.
you get tornadoes.
Yeah, or flooding.
Yeah.
I mean, they get flooding all the time and tornadoes and locusts and all these
And then on the
crazy
West Coast,
heat,
it's heat. Well, it's wildfires.
wildfires,
Yeah. I
El
mean,
Nino,
they get
drought, power outages.
mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're in the Northeast, it's ice and just frigid cold. I mean,
Yeah. So I guess there is no ideal safe spot to live to protect you from Mother Nature.
hmm,
Yeah.
dang.
I know.
Well, I guess all of us are learning to adapt and will continue to learn to adapt and pay attention more to the news and the weather rather than TikTok as much. Well, I mean, even TikTok was warning us.
Yeah. Most
People on
have.
TikTok were like, "Hey, look out! Here it comes." I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I would think if I lived in that Florida not the Panhandle, but the Clearwater, Tampa. I mean that area has gotten hit now. What in the last 3 years, at least twice
Yeah,
by major, massive Category 4 plus storms.
I bet
I
their
just,
insurance companies are
oh
like,
god.
"Dude, just don't even build."
I mean,
I bet they're just like, "Why build?"
I get that the view's beautiful, but good gosh, I just don't know. I just don't think I could handle that.
Well, yes, but you think about places that we go visit that get hit by hurricanes all the time, like Jamaica. Jamaica gets hit by hurricanes all the time. We still go all the time. It's still beautiful all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I did see several TikToks where people had rebuilt in the Clearwater, Tampa Bay. Don't know the exact what was it called? Something Key, Cedar Key
Cedar
area.
Key.
Okay, they had
Yeah.
rebuilt since that last major storm, and I don't know. I don't remember if it was last year or the year before last that they got hit with a like almost it was almost a Category 5, and there was one person that I was watching their TikTok and they were going back through their house after this storm, showing all that had rebuilt completely because the house it was just gone after the previous storm. And they had built this house totally different. They had raised up the found, they it was like where the water would go through the bottom. I mean, it was they were going through the house showing. Now, don't get me wrong, there was a lot of um
Debris.
debris and ocean sand in on their bottom floor, but it was they built it to be able to withstand that. The builder had put these kind of like we have these weeping holes
Yeah.
in our foundation. They had that, but it was bigger so that the water could flow straight through. It was unreal. I mean, even their pool had been built where it could withstand, and it did. I mean, now don't get me wrong, it was full of salt water. I mean, it was full of seawater and debris and stuff, but they were
Yeah.
saying
They
that
did clean that.
other than draining it and filling it back up. But yeah, I mean, they're definitely getting wiser to building in those areas.
Hmm. Hmm. Wow.
I hope we don't ever have to file homeowners for something like that, because I do know that there's different things now that pertain to. I heard somebody say that some storm that just come through that was not named, because it was not a named storm, that their homeowners was not paying. So I mean, there's a lot of stipulations now, and I'm sure insurance companies are having to get that way. I mean, it seems like there's so many of
I don't
these
know.
disasters happening.
The older I get, the more I think that Ned Flanders was right. Insurance companies is just a scam. Like you pay money in and then you never get your money back what you put into it when you need it.
I don't
I
know.
mean, it just seems like every time something goes wrong, people go, "Well, did you need a new roof? Sorry, this was an old one, so you're only going to get like a fraction of what your roof is worth." I mean, you pay in and you pay in and pay in, and then it's like, too bad. We're in the business of making money, son. You ain't getting that back.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. I mean, I will keep paying our homeowners insurance
And we
every
have
year,
to.
and I don't. I hope
Yeah,
I never have to use it.
we have to because
Yes, it's too much of a risk not
I
to.
mean, we have to because the government says we have to.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
it's better to recover something out of it than nothing, and your house be completely gone.
yeah. Well, gone are the days where something happens and they go, "Oh, I got a check from what happened. I'm so happy." You don't ever hear anybody say they're happy about it.
No,
No.
no.
Well, I did watch a couple things on TV. Not that you care, but
Did I watch anything? No, I hadn't watched anything.
did you ever hear about the Von Erichs, the wrestling family?
No,
I don't know if having brothers if they ever talked about
no.
it. But there's a cool movie. Zac Efron, you know Zac Efron.
Mm-hmm.
He got all buff. I don't know if he worked out with The Rock or what, but he got like wrestling buff, like jacked. And whole reason I watched it was because I saw Jeremy Allen White. He's the main character from The Bear. He was on Shameless.
Yes.
He was Lip. So I saw him and I was like, what's going on here? And I mean, I used to watch wrestling, but I don't really remember the Von Erichs. It was a whole family of them that wrestled. Anyway, they just got inducted into the Hall of Fame, and this is kind of a story about them, how they felt like they had a family curse on their name, and it was crazy. It's a crazy movie. Remember the Mindhunter about the FBI guys that were learning how to make serial killers a thing? The guy who was the older fella, he plays the dad in this. He's like Fritz von Erich, and he
Okay.
had this move in wrestling where he would put the claw on you. They would do like this. So the movie's called The Iron Claw because he'd put the claw on you, and people would go, "Oh, submit," you know. Anyway, it was a cute movie. Everybody looked really buff, and somebody was on there playing Ric Flair. It was a terrible Ric Flair, but wore the flamboyant suits and everything. And then I'm watching Agatha all along. She's a witch.
Okay.
Catherine Hahn. It's cute. That's it. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah. We're gonna watch something though
Wow.
because it's on Disney Plus.
What's on Disney Plus?
Inside Out too.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we don't have to today, but I've seen it's there. We want to watch it. I want to watch it. I hear it's great.
I
But
have watched something. What have I watched?
oh, you watched The Perfect Couple. When
Yes.
that was called
Yes. Very
with
good.
Nicole Kidman and Levi something.
Shrub.
Levi Shriver.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Very good. I had read the book, and actually, I think this is just a one time. It's not like it's a seasonal thing. It's just 6 episodes, and it's based on the book The Perfect Couple by Ellen Hildebrand. I have read a lot of her books. I love her books. This book to me was was not one of her better books. To me, she's got other stories that are way better, but the show on TV that Netflix did to me was way more interesting than the book.
Oh,
Yeah, it was good. It was really good. Of course, I knew what was going to happen because I read the book, but they made it.
it's sort of like going to see Titanic. You're
Yeah.
like, I
Oh
know it's
yeah.
going to happen, but
I mean, they made this better, and a lot of times when they make something into a movie, it's usually not as good as the book because it's hard to replicate that. But they did a really good job. I'm surprised they did 6 hour, almost hour long shows out of it, but or episodes. But it was really good, really good. I think if for a while it was like the number one thing on Netflix.
mm.
Nicole Kidman's she's a fantastic actress. She really is. And Dakota Fanning is in this. And of
Oh yeah.
course, yeah, I remember watching her as a kid. And I mean, she does not, she looks so different now, but she does a great job in this movie. So I had watched that, and then I had watched Emily in Paris. The last half of season 4 came out.
And here she's no longer in Paris.
She's no longer in Paris,
I heard next year they're going to do her somewhere else.
in Rome.
Oh yeah, Rome.
Yeah, they're opening an office
Emily
in
in
Rome.
Rome.
They're opening an office in Rome.
See, I haven't watched any of that, and to me, it sounds like the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants in Rome.
Well, I mean, it's not a serious type show. It's a 30 minutes at the most
Is
episodes.
it kind of like Devil Wears Prada, but a series?
Yeah, in a way,
Okay.
yes. I mean, it is about fashion. Yeah, it's she works for a marketing firm. She's a social media. Um, she's young. I mean, it's kind of like her going to work for a company that has really not used social media very much, and then you bring in this young person that is really not sure about the job itself, but she's fantastic at marketing herself on social media. So she kind of like very quickly, it's about a marketing firm. She works for a marketing firm, and she gets sent to Paris because her boss is pregnant and has some complications and can't travel. So she is like fairly new at this whole industry. That's kind of like her first job out of college, and her boss just, you know, tells her, "Oh, okay, by the way, I can't go to Paris. You go in the morning." And so she's just dropped into the situation, and she has to learn. I wouldn't say she has to learn French. She doesn't really learn it. So of course the French people don't like her because she can't speak French. But it's really good. It's just cute. It's nothing heavy. It's a very light, light-hearted show, and they're very small. They're 30 minutes, 25-minute episodes, and we're on season 4. Season 4 came out with like 4 episodes, and then took a break, or for some reason they're doing that now. They
Yeah.
posted like 4 episodes and then waited, I don't know, a month or
I
two.
hear it's because there's a writer strike,
Maybe,
like another one.
maybe. And then they just released the last 4 mid-September.
Hmm.
But now it looks like she is opening up an office in Rome.
Hmm.
So it's cute. I think it's from the same people that wrote or produced or something the Sex and the City from years ago, which is
From the
something
creators of,
from the creators of, yeah.
which could be anybody.
I think it's Darren Star, which had something to do with the Sex and the City years ago, and maybe even the reboot of the one that's on now. I don't even remember what the name of that one is, and Just Like That or something. It's them much older.
Hmm.
Um,
Probably licensing things.
yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, we're staying busy.
Yeah. I feel like I haven't sat still for a second.
Yeah.
Except for this. So thank you for doing this with me.
Yep, you're welcome.
I wish I was one of those people that had like links you could send money to help the people that are in need, but there's people out there doing that. So yeah, do that. And I'll just pray for them because that's all I can do. So anyway, thanks for listening, everybody. If you enjoyed this, please let us know, rate, review, subscribe, share this with your friends. And as always,
Cue the cow, baby.
Cue the cow. Moo, baby.